Good evening, Pippadot, Sprinkled Donut, Gianna Marie. Good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. Kitty Coo, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I trust that everyone had a great weekend. I'm getting feedback from this cable. I don't know what the heck to do. You can either disconnect it or turn it off completely, but then no one will be able to hear me. If I hold my hand on it like that, it stops buzzing, but I can hear the buzzing and it drives me nuts. It's got to be something with the cable itself, not the mic. Good evening, Sal, and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. Don't know what it is, if it's a loose connection in there or what. Could replace it. Make sure you're all on top, not on top chat. Yeah. It's weird. I fixed it. I'm a master at this, if I don't say so myself. It'll probably come back though. I'm trying to remember where the other cables are. I think they're in a tub that's over here underneath the table. Grab a piece of tape. I have other cables. We replace it. It wouldn't take but a minute to do it. And good evening, Interpeas. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. All right, bear with me. I'm gonna change up this cable. So you're gonna look at the trivia thing here for a second. I'm still here. You should still be able to hear me. Looking for a bike cable. That's the wrong size. Ooh. Alrighty. Never mind the wizard behind the curtain, right? I got cables on top of cables on top of cables. Just got to get the right one. Wrong size. That's an extender. I grabbed the wrong bag. These are all the wrong bag. Well, guess we'll do the best we can with what I have here. I know I've got another one around here somewhere. Just thought they were all in this bag. Oh well. And nobody wants to look at the stupid bag on my table. Wrong bag. Yeah. He'll come back and the whole room will be in disarray. Where's all of our mountain lions? I don't know. There's inner peace. Roar. I think it'll be okay as long as I don't touch it. And I should probably, figure out what I do with them. Maybe I'll do that on break time. They might be over here in the other bin underneath the monitor. I have they're big, huge plastic bins, for with wheels on them. Yeah, but they're watertight containers. You can't see it, and I'd have to move the camera to show it to you. But they're for toting around camera gear. And I've got two of them, one on each end of the room. It's probably in that bin over there underneath the monitors. All right, Purple. Good evening, Purple, and welcome to tonight's trivia. Let's get this party started, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 325th episode of True Crime Trivia here on 411 Now, 324th. As you can read this if you want, blah blah blah, and RCW 2557.2280. It's illegal for someone under the age of 16 to be in this chat, since it is age restricted on all avenues that I stream to, and it is wrong to disseminate this content in any way. Everyone abides by these rules except for TikTok. But again, viewer discretion is advised for anything you may see or hear on this channel. All right. The most of these you're going to find that don't have pictures on them because my licensing with the Getty Images expired. Some of them are there, some of them not. But first question is on your screen. Which serial killer referred to himself as the son of Sam? Was it A, Ted Bundy, B, John Wayne Gacy, C, Samuel Little, or D, David Berkowitz, or E, other? Good evening, Reichardt. Welcome to tonight's trivia. The usual question, where is Reichardt today? Which part of the United States is Reichardt in? Hopefully nowhere near Florida or the East Coast, where they got a lot of damage. Denver again. And Gianna Marie, in case I didn't say hello. Good evening, Gianna Marie. My sister lives just outside of Denver. Pretty country. Which serial killer referred to himself as the son of Sam? Oh, I gotta get myself my little window here. There's something to look at on here besides just the, a blank, box there. Hello, it's me, Will, in his little window. Uncle Sam's son. Dun dun dun. Question: I avoid all the areas like the plague. Avoid all the areas. And quite a few people down in, depending on where you were in Florida, in the Gulf Coast area, got hit pretty hard with the Helena. I think this is the tropical storm, Helena. We don't get tropical storms where I live, or we get rain every once in a while, but we don't have a whole lot of natural disasters like that. That's why this place is here, is because it has very, very little, seismic activity, severe weather. It's always pretty much the. You got rain in Tennessee, but that's about it. Well, hopefully you didn't get any flooding with it. DM123, good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. Glad you could be here with us. Question number 1, the correct answer is D as in dog. David Berkowitz referred to himself as the son of Sam. Question number 2. What serial killer was inspired for the inspiration for the movie character Scorpio in the Dirty Harry movie? Was it A, the Hillside Strangler, B, Zodiac, C, the Son of Sam, D, Hannibal Lecter, or E, other? What serial killer was the inspiration for the movie character Scorpio in the Dirty Harry movie? Sam Kinnison's son. Ow, ow, ow! Sadly, I never got to see Sam Kinison perform live. The son of a preacher man, Sam Kinison. Son of a preacher. Before Sam Kinison ever did stand-up comedy, that was the route that he was going to be. He was going to be a preacher, a Pentecostal preacher. And he did actually do some with his father and by himself, but then comedy came along and they did stand-up comedy. Tragic loss. Sal is guessing B, Kitty Q, B question mark. Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry. Dirty Harry was played by Clint Eastwood. Question number 2 of 20. Pippadot's going to go with B question mark as well, as is Sprinkled Donut. Question number 2 of 20. The correct answer is B as in boy. The Zodiac killer was the inspiration for the character Scorpio in the Dirty Harry movie. Chris Christopherson just passed away. Oh, that's sad. I didn't hear about that. That's sad that he passed away. The Scorpion King, silly movie. Chris Christopherson. Little side note on Chris Christopherson, since you mentioned him, Sal. How Chris Christopherson got a development deal, and which later on would open up his movie career and his singing career, was he took a helicopter and landed it on the lawn of Johnny Cash's actual home, and then went to Johnny Cash and gave him his demo and said you need to listen to it. Johnny Cash, impressed by the gumption of this guy, to want to do something like that, actually listened to it and said, all right, there's something here. But that was how he got his development deal to make his first album. Chris Christopherson. All right, question number 3. Angelo Buono was one half of the murderous duo known as what in the media? A, the Hillside Stranglers. B, the West Side Rapists. C, Hilltop Stranglers. D, the Clockwork Orange Killers. Or E, other. Angelo Buono was one half of the murderous duo known as what in the media? Chris Christopherson definitely had some really good music over the years. He wasn't a half bad actor either. Sal the Morgan, good evening, Morgan, and welcome to tonight's trivia. The Morgan is going with A. Kitty Q, Gianna Marie, and Pippadot are all going with A. Cagney and Lacey. I remember that show, Cagney and Lacey. That used to be on right around the time that we had Heart to Heart, and then was it Moonshine? No, the one with Bruce Willis. What was the one that with Bruce Willis? Was it Moondance, Moonshine, something like that? But there was Heart to Heart, and Cagney and Lacey, Hill Street Blues. Bruno Mars. Record. Bruno Mars. Question number 3 of 20. Angelo Buono was one half of the murderous duo known as what in the media? The correct answer is A, as in apple. Moonlighting. Thank you, Sal. Moonlighting. Inner Peas as well. Moonlighting. That was the name of the show. But A as in apple is the correct answer for question number 3. Did you know, contrary to popular beliefs, serial killers can stop killing? It doesn't matter if they have killed 6 or 60 in the past, they can stop killing. There have been several serial killers who have taken off, up to a decade between crimes, not because they were incarcerated or they had health issues. They just stopped killing and then picked it right back up, years or a decade later. But it is possible for serial killers to stop killing, and has nothing to do with outside forces or anything at all. So keep that in mind. Contrary to popular belief, they can stop. Question number 4. Writers of horror movie scripts have found inspiration with this serial killer for decades, who inspired the movie main character in the 1927 Alfred Hitchcock movie, The Logger. Who is it? Is it A, Ed Gein, B, H.H. Holmes, C, Bela Guinness, D, Jack the Ripper, or E, other? Is it just sick urges that make them want to stop or continue to do it again? Yeah, the BTK, he quit for quite a few years. They find Jesus, so they stop killing, but they should go to prison. Not all necessarily, but there have been some that have found religion and then start killing again because they actually, believe that it's a calling from a higher power to continue killing. That has happened. You are absolutely right about that, Rykard, but not in every circumstance. There have been others that have just stopped killing. Again, BTK is an excellent example of somebody who quit, killing for, quite a few years and then picked it right back up again. Why? Maybe it was, he just got busy and he was doing something else. And Rykard's going with E, of course. Chud Daybell books. Writers of horror movie scripts have found inspiration with this serial killer for decades, who inspired the movie's main character in the 1927 Alfred Hitchcock movie, The Lodger. Who is it? Question number 4. The correct answer is D as in dog, Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper was the inspiration for the character in the 1927 Alfred Hitchcock movie, The Lodger. An excellent movie, by the way. If it's in black and white, if you ever get a chance to see it. They had a colorized version of it, but it was originally in black and white. Question number 5. Writers of horror movie scripts have found inspiration with this serial killer for decades, who inspired the movie main character of Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Who is this? Is it A, Samuel Little, B, H.H. Holmes, C, Ed Gein, D, Barry Morphew, or E, other? This one has you stumped. Previous question. Writers of horror movie scripts have found inspiration with this serial killer for decades. Who inspired the main character of Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Who is this one? Hmm. What a guess. I've never seen it. You've never seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Pippadot? When I was a child, I used to watch Alfred Hitchcock's black and white TV shows. I probably watched some of them too, Reinhardt, when I was younger, but I was more in. Um, I couldn't get enough, and even to this day, I still go back and I watch a lot of the original Twilight Zone um, thrillers with Rod Sterling as the host. I just can't get, even today, in black and white, it still works for me. And in a lot of ways, black and white is a lot more, um, realistic, I guess. It makes me want to think, and try to like, get involved more into the story with my imagination. Gabby, good evening, Gabby, and welcome to tonight's trivia. Glad you could be here with us, Gabby. Gabby is going with C, and so it's sprinkled donuts and Theresa Bird. Good evening as well, and welcome to tonight's trivia. All right, question number 5. The correct answer is C, as in cat. Ed Gein was the main inspiration for the character of Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacres. The Lodger, I've never seen. You've seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Okay. The Lodger is a good movie. One of my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movies of all times is The Birds. I mean, you can't go wrong with Psycho, but besides Psycho, a lot of people think that that's pretty much all he ever did. Psycho and movies like that. But The Birds, that was a good one. Question number 6. Which serial killer from below used a ruse of a hitchhiking prostitute? That's not, it says prosite, should be prostitute, to kill male motorists. Again, that should say prostitute, not prosite. All right. Which serial killer from below used the ruse of a hitchhiking prostitute to kill male motorists? Was it A, Elaine Wuornos, B, Marsha Brady, C, Bella Guinness, D, Jan Brady, or E, other? Good evening, Debbie, and welcome to tonight's trivia. Thank you for being here with us tonight. When I picked up cargo in small towns in Texas, I always think of Leatherface is going to come at me with a chainsaw. Ooh. Well, Rykart, you be careful out there. You never know. They're always in the places where you least expect them to be. I don't think anybody's out there wheeling chainsaws, but the Morgan's going to go with Snooky. It was Snooky. Which serial killer from below used the ruse of a hitchhiking prostitute to kill male motorists? Question number 6 of 20. And there's a good chance that I'm looking at my email right now. There's a good chance that none of the slides, questions tonight will have a picture in the box on the right hand side. I don't know if all of the licenses expired on the same day. I thought they were all good until tomorrow, but apparently I was wrong. Oh, there's a chance that none of them have pictures tonight, and I am truly sorry about that. The correct answer for question number 6 is A as in apple. Is the one that used the ruse of a hitchhiking prostitute to kill male motorists. Did you know? Contrary to popular beliefs, there has never been a complete accounting of how many serial killers are in the former Soviet bloc countries or in the current Soviet Union. Why? Because the government doesn't want to know. Even when others from outside the country have offered to help do an accounting, they have refused all help. We have no idea, no law enforcement agency in the world, this includes Scotland Yard and several other former, so even China has offered to help do a complete accounting of serial killers in the Soviet Union and the former Soviet bloc countries, and they've all refused. And this includes, Ukraine and other countries that were once part of the Soviet Union. They don't want to know how many serial killers may actually be within their actual borders. So we'll never know. And there's a good chance that maybe the KGB had an accounting of it, but nobody has come across those records if anybody ever did try to do an accounting of them. So just think of that entire population that is there. We will never know how many serial killers are actually there. We know how many are approximately, in every other country out there. You can actually look at a map, and I believe you can find the map on the Department of Justice's website, where you can see how many known serial killers there have been caught or investigated in each and every country. And the United States is number one. We are number one when it comes to serial killers. We have grown more more serial killers than anyone else. So we may not be number one in manufacturing anymore or anything else, but hey, we can grow you some serial killers. I'm joking. We can do other things, but we do a damn good job at growing serial killers. Excuse me. Question number 7. This serial killer of young men and boys really believed he was getting close to his goal of making a perfect sex slave. Who is he? Is it A, Gary Ridgway, B, Jeffrey Dahmer, C, H.H. Holmes, or D, Harold Shipman, or E, other? Serialkillers.com. This serial killer of young men and boys really believed he was getting closer to his goal of making a perfect sex slave. Oh, Inner Peace. Inner Peace is going with E, Diddy, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy. Oh, wow. With an awful lot of baby oil. 1,000 bottles of baby oil. What the hell? What's disturbing about that 1,000 bottles of baby oil is so many people jumped online automatically and believed that the 1,000 bottles of baby oil came from Costco, and Costco had to put out an actual statement that said, no, the 1,000 bottles of baby oil that he had did not come from us. We did not sell 1,000 bottles of baby oil to P. Diddy. So thank you very much, because people were speculating that that would matter. I mean, Do we ever go through the house of, of somebody who's, murdered people and say, you know what? You had a lot of stuff from Sam's Club. I bet Sam's Club, condoned your activities. No. Bye Bird Boutique Robin. Hello. Good evening, Bye Bird Boutique. Good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. For all those that are new here, tonight, I'm truly sorry that there are no photographs in the box that is above this live me. Well, I'm right here in this little window, but up here there are normally pictures of the individuals that helps aid in getting the answer correct. But my license with Getty Images has expired, and I thought that the license only covered some of the photos. But reading the email through here, it may have included all of the photos that I would use, and it's automatic because I upload these things to the Google Cloud, and the Google takes them away. They remove the license because each one of them is used with a license agreement for rebroadcasting. Yes, I could just take photos from the open domain, that are out there in the public domain, as most people know it as, but a lot of times it's hit or miss on the quality of the photos when rebroadcasting them and what they look like. And you don't necessarily know if somebody has the licensing behind them just because you found it in an open domain, public domain. You don't necessarily know that. But anyways, I'm truly sorry that there is not, a picture right up here in this box above me. That is not how I normally have this trivia. But anyways, question number 7, the correct answer is B as in boy. For question number 7 of 20, B as in boy, Jeffrey Dahmer truly believed that he was getting closer and closer to actually being able to create a human male sex slave that would do anything and everything for him that he wanted, that he was getting closer to actually accomplishing his goal. Sick and twisted as it is, he really believed that. All right, question number 8. This serial killer, like others, targeted young men and boys. What made him different was he loved to dress up as a clown. Who is he? Is it A, Jeffrey Dahmer, B, Barry Morphew, C, John Gacy, or D, Pauly Shore, or E, other? Oh, thank you, Kitty Coo. It was really nice of you to do that, the gift memberships. Thank you very much. You always win with the most wrong answers. We're only playing for fun and entertainment here, anyways. It doesn't matter if you get them right or if you answer E for everything. We're just here to hang out and basically, we can, if we learn something, great. If we don't, that's okay as well. Cameron, Candy Crush, good evening. Candy Crush as well. Pippadot's going with C. Regina Heath, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I'm glad you could all be here with us tonight for trivia night. This serial killer, like others, targeted young men and boys. What made him different was he loved to dress up as a clown. Who is he? C, but Polly's a good one. The weasel. The weasel. Pauly Shore. Good evening, K-Love. Sorry I missed you there, K-Love. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Question number 8 of 20. Always learn something from your channel. Thanks, Will, for the trivia. You're welcome, Debbie. I hope you're doing well, Debbie. But I'm glad you could be here with us tonight for trivia. Question number 8. The correct answer is C, as in cat. John Gacy loved to dress up as a clown, but he targeted young men and boys. And he buried a vast majority of them, not all of them, underneath the crawl space of his home. What was his clown name? He mainly dressed up as Pogo the Clown for birthday parties and when he went to go see children in the hospital. He dressed up as Pogo the Clown. That was the longest standing name of any one clown. He had different names for his alter ego, the clown, in the beginning, and he did have another name when he went to social organizations as besides Pogo. Found Diddy drugged the baby oil with GBH. Can you imagine? No, I can't. I couldn't imagine. I've read about and seen the interviews with his former bodyguard who worked with him for several years, and about these freak off parties. I couldn't imagine being part of any of that at all, and why people would not only go once but go multiple times to something like that. No, see, but then again, I don't understand it, but I can also see that where people did it because they thought that they were going to become rich and famous, and P. Diddy was going to make them into something, that they always wanted to be, a musician, a singer, or whatever. He held this thing over them. I don't know if any of it ever happened. I mean, a couple of people he did definitely give recording contracts to, but I don't know if I'd want to go to something like that. But question number 8 was C as in cat. John Gacy was Pogo the Clown. Question number 9. America has had a long and storied history with serial killers. Who is considered to be America's first serial killer? He's considered to be America's first serial killer, but he is by nowhere near the first serial killer. People just assume that he is America's first serial killer, okay? With that in mind, is it A, H.H. Holmes, B, William Hare, C, Harry Hayward, or D, Edward Walton, or E, other? America's had a long and storied history with serial killers. Who is considered to be America's first serial killer? Question number 9 of 20. Bird Boutique is going with A. Barking Pumpkin. Good evening, Barking Pumpkin. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Is also going with A. I'm glad you're here with us tonight, Barking Pumpkin. And the Morgan's going with A. Debbie's going with A. Gianna and Theresa is going with A. And her P's is going with Jim Jones. Jim Jones and the People's Temple. Kitty Q, Pippa Dot, and Sprinkle Donuts are all going with A as well. America's had a long and storied history and with serial killers. The very first homicide that happened in America with the Pilgrims coming to America was a man who came over on the Mayflower. He killed another villager within the actual first village that was set up with the people who came over on the Mayflower. That was the very first homicide we had in this country. E, meth smoking mountain lions driving a Yugo. That B, I didn't cheat this time. There is no cheating in this. Use your phone a friend, reach out, ask your hubby who's sitting in the EV chair, ask the person at the Love's truck stop counter. I don't care who you use, Google, whatever. You want to. You know, it's only cheating if you consider it cheating. I encourage people to use whatever means they have to come up with the answers. We're only playing for fun. This isn't anything really serious. We're just having fun and joking around and you know conversing with each other. This is the community of great people. Well, if you can change your answer, Debbie. Just say I'm changing my answer to. I did annoy cheat this time. I misspelled my words. Oh, it's all right, Deb. Debbie. It is totally okay with everyone here. No one is judging someone else. At least they shouldn't be. Nobody knows everything, and not anybody knows everything that they should. You go. Remember that. You go. Question number 9 of 20. America has had a long and storied history with serial killers. Who is considered to be America's first serial killer? The correct answer to question number 9 is A, as in apple. H. Holmes is considered to be America's first serial killer. He is not. He wasn't even close to being the first serial killer. He's the first person that was popularized, as a serial killer, but he was not, the America's first serial killer. By almost 70 years, we know of, within the 70 years before, Mr. Mudgett, who is H. Holmes, there were serial killers who were active in America, but you only knew about them in local areas. There was no national papers, that went around and said, "Hey, we're looking for this individual. This person's been killing people in Boston. Now they're in, Delaware, killing people." But there were definitely serial killers before H. Holmes. Question number. Oh, did you know? According to the FBI, there is a very high probability that there is as many as 45 serial killers on the payroll of the Mexican cartels as of 2022. That is a scary little bit of information right there. Just think about that in Mexico, that the Mexican cartel may be the high probability is they employ as many as 45 serial killers. There have been some really horrific stories about people they know who work for the cartels. There's several different cartels, but the most popular and well known is a man who was once working for the Sinaloa cartel, who was called in to torture and kill people. And he was there, and he did it on his free time too. He just killed people. But then when the cartel needed him, he was like, "Yeah, I'm here for you, bruh. I'll kill someone. I'll torture him." Excuse me. All right. Question number 10. To tell the truth is damn near impossible for most serial killers. Facing execution, this killer still wouldn't admit to how many total he killed. How many did Ted Bundy admit to killing? Was it A, 38, B, 28, C, 31, D, 58, or E, other? Question number 10 of 20. To tell the truth is damn near impossible for most serial killers. Facing execution, this killer still wouldn't admit to how many in total he killed. How many did Ted Bundy admit to killing? He used to drive a Nova. That's cool. You wait. Don't is someone near here, Mister, that drives a blue Gremlin? That was one of the first cars I ever had was an AMC Gremlin. My first car, I can't remember the make and um, the model name of it, but it was a Datsun. It was a Datsun hatchback. I can't remember what the model number was. It was like some letter and some numbers or something. But a Datsun. That was my first car. My second car was a 1965 Buick Wildcat that my grandfather gave me. I was like 16 years old, but the Datsun I had, I still know where it is. It's sitting in my mom's friend's backyard, but he built a 6-foot wooden privacy fence around his property, and it's nowhere near the gate. So you'd have to rip up his garden and the shed and the two outbuildings just to get to the car. But when he put it on the property, there was an empty lot on the left of his house and behind his house, and you could just drive it in there on the property before the fence. But now you can't. So it just sits there to this day. Your first car was a Chevy Malibu, and you drove it fast. Kitty Q, your first car was an 85 Cavalier hatchback. Wow. I think Bundy was given more names on his walk to execution, was giving more names. Ooh, Pippadot's first car was a Maverick. Theresa, Chevy Impala. My mom had an Impala when I was a little kid, 4-door Impala. It was tan exterior and tan interior. I was like 6, somewhere in there. And I knew my mom had hidden my birthday gifts in the trunk of the car. And I took her keys and I went outside to the car and I started playing with the gifts that were, my birthday gifts that were in the trunk. But and I was sitting in the actual car and it was a gear shift automatic on the column, and I bumped it out of park and into like reverse or neutral, and the car rolled out of the driveway and out into we lived by a roundabout intersection that were when it's not a roundabout, but wide off and like a double Y, and it rolled out into the roadway. And I just remember sitting there in the front seat playing with these cap guns and watching my mother running furiously, after the car as it rolled down the driveway and out into this intersection. It hit a curb and it came to a stop. Needless to say, my mommy wasn't very happy with me. And then the keys were locked in the trunk. So, yes, Will was not a good little boy back then. All right, question number 10. The correct answer is B as in boy. Ted Bundy only admitted to killing 28. He would not tell them where or the details around each and every one of the 28 victims. He would only give them a number or a partial description or a partial location without any kind of geographic information. Like he wouldn't say it was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Provo, Utah, or Seattle, Washington. He would only say that it was in a grassy field, near a big elm tree is where he laid his victim to rest, and he came back over and over again to visit that victim or whatever, and that's as far as he would talk about it. But 28 is all he ever would have really admit to killing was 28. The FBI believes that the number of victims that Ted Bundy actually claimed is somewhere near that, but they also believe that he a lot of the stories that he said as he was facing execution were completely made up, because Bundy was a master manipulator. And if you were looking for an answer, like the one preacher who came and talked to him, who was looking for a connection between pornography and snuff films and serial killers, Ted Bundy automatically said, "Yep, Yep, I was introduced to hardcore pornography from my grandfather at a really young age, and I've been addicted to pornography. He told everybody, if you're looking for that connection, there what caused it, him to be a serial killer, he would give you the information. He would make your hypothesis real. Yes. Oh, you also wanted me to be a bedwetter into my 20s. Yes, I was a bedwetter into my 20s. He would say whatever, even if it wasn't real. He would have a complete backstory about it, and he always talked in a monotone tone. He never raised his voice or lowered his voice, and he would look right at you in the eyes and tell you, that, and in a convincing manner, that whatever you were looking for, that's exactly what it was. Oh, what did you go to Wisconsin and kill two girls at a church camp? Yes, I did. He would and he'd tell you how he did it, but without leaving out the actual details. Like, oh, I stabbed them both to death or I suffocated them. He wouldn't tell you that part. He'd just tell you that he killed them. Yes, and that they're and he'd tell you about maybe the smell of lavender in the air or something along that line, because well, maybe one of them had used like a lavender soap, or there was lavender to kind of grew that in the area. But see, made a connection there. Okay, the victims, there's lavender. Maybe there's lavender flowers growing by, but you couldn't believe anything that Ted wanted to say. He told you exactly what he wanted you to know, and then didn't tell you anything about anything else. If he didn't want to tell you, he wasn't going to talk to you about it. And that's not just Ted Bundy. That's a lot of serial killers. You just cannot believe what they have to say. They're master manipulators and narcissistic, to the umpteenth power. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the first 10 questions. If you're new here, let me introduce you to our break time. At this time, we take a 6-minute break. Do whatever you need to do. Get something to eat, use the facilities, smoke a bowl, do whatever you do. I'm not judging you, nor do I care to know what you're doing. Just take the next 6 minutes off, and then we'll be back for the next 10 questions. I'm now going to kill my mic while I actually look and hunt for the actual cable to replace this damn thing because I can hear it buzzing in my head in the background. So take the next 6 minutes off. Doo-doo-doo. And it has now been fixed. Good evening, Jude. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Thank you, Deb. I appreciate that. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. I knew I had other cables. I got a whole, I probably have, oh, 20, 25 mic cables. Oh, Jude says, I will never use lavender again. We got a lot of things, when it comes to lavender, it's probably one of the most popular scents that are used around the house. Not only air fresheners, but soaps, shampoos. It's in everything. And heck, I know it's in Arm and Hammer laundry soap too. Lavender, very popular. Mel, good evening, Mel. Hello, Will, and everyone in the chat. I'm sorry for being extremely late. Oh, you're good, Mel. Just remember, Mel, you might be late as in missing the first 10 questions, but you're more on time than those who are not here. You're more on time than cement shoes. Just saying. Cement shoes in case you watch this later on. We're thinking of you. Oh, you haven't seen that before? Oh, I own the actual rights to rebroadcast that. If anyone else ever rebroadcast The Last Man Alive, they owe me compensation. That's according to YouTube. No, actually, I don't. I don't legally own the rights to the movie. Nobody does. It's in the free domain. The copyrights and everything for The Last Man Alive with Vincent Price has expired, and nobody can own it. But I did fight the guy who tried to claim the copyrights to it. I fought him, and I fought him, and I fought him, and then finally I won. There's a guy in I believe he's from Atlanta, Georgia. He goes by the name of Monkey Records, and he has claimed sound bites to everything from a telephone ringing to like an older like a Ma Bell like telephone. That distinctive sound of a telephone ringing. But he's claimed everything from that to movies to artwork. He says it's all his. And then he sends out extortion letters to individuals saying, hey, you're going to pay up or I'm gonna sue you, or I'm going to make sure YouTube shuts you down, or TikTok or Facebook or whatever the site might be. He's gone after so many. And apparently it works enough that people actually pay up. They bow in, they're like, you know what? It's not worth losing my entire channel over or getting a copyright strike, on my channel, which would, could shut you down if you get enough of them. So people pay up, but he doesn't really own this stuff. He just went through the internet archives and just started claiming like mass swaths of things that are in the internet archives. But YouTube does say that I am the only one who has the rights to rebroadcast on Last Man Alive on YouTube. And even though I told them I don't own it, just because I'm the first person to air it doesn't mean that I own it. Oh, thank you, Pippadot. Well, good, Kitty Coo. I'm glad you enjoyed it, though. I've thought about rebroadcasting it again, like maybe this coming Halloween. For there are other great movies just like that that are out there. Um, not necessarily zombie flicks, but other movies that where the copyrights have expired. I'd have to look into it to see if if this guy Monkey Records has claimed them as well, or if anybody else has the rebroadcasting rights for it. It's amazing though. The people like that are everywhere. If there's a way to make a dime, there are people out there who are trying to make a dime out of it. This channel is fantabulous. You're one. You're my family to me. Well, thank you, Mel. Yeah, Vincent Price. He put out some really good horror movies over the years, but he also had some serious duds. Um, serious like bombs at the box office kind of duds. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We actually ran a little bit longer than our 6 minute normal. Question number 11 is now on your screen. What did Albert Fish have 29 of hidden all over his body as he was brought to the electric chair? Was it A, 29 hamsters, B, 29 cheese sandwiches, C, 29 stick pins, or D, 29 TV guides, or was it E, other? No. Is the answer to that, Sal? No, it is not. But he apparently gets away with it enough that he keeps on doing it though. There are a lot of things out there that are not legal that people do all the time. Oh, Sprinkle, Donut, Pippa Dot, Q to Q, Sal, and the Morgan are all going with C. What did Albert Fish have 29 of hidden all over his body? Teresa is going with C as well, and Gianna Marie is going with C. 29 balloons, 29 loofahs. Nina reference, 29 red balloons. Such a freak, he liked to self harm. Yeah. What the heck is a stick pin? Stick pins are the same thing. A pin that you might use for sewing. It's A, but B, I'm out. If it's A or B, I'm out, says Kitty Q. I mean, just think. If he had 29 cheese sandwiches on him while he sat in the electric chair and were electrocuted, would they be 29 grilled cheese sandwiches? Purple is going with C as well. Straight pins women used to wear kind of long. Oh, like for when you're hemming or sewing. Yes, hemming or sewing. They're called stick pins. Well, in some parts of the world, they have other names for them as well. Diapers, those are safety pins. You use safety pins for cloth diapers. They may have other names as well. All right, question number 11. The correct answer is C, as in cat. He had 29 stick pins all over his body, hidden all over his body. 29 stick pins. He really did enjoy self harming. And these were not just like barely under the skin. Some of these were hidden, stuck in directly straight into his muscle tissue. They were all over his body, even his male organ. Would wear them and have a pearl at the end. Yeah, they're dress stick pins, and they're also um, ones for more utility use. Why? Kitty Coo? Because he loved to self harm himself. He got off on Albert Fish got off on the actual pain, the enjoyment of pain, physical pain. He swallowed them too. Yep. All right, next one. Question 12. Who coined the term serial homicide, then later changed it to serial killer to reflect what to reflect they were looking for a person, not a crime? Was it A, Jack White, B, Robert Ressler, C, Steve Washington, or D, Scott Reich, or E, other? Massachusetts. Yeah. Sal's going with B. I've been looking for a question for like the last like week to finally put that person in this reference to a question. Sometimes when I'm doing trivia questions and I have to come up with okay, I obviously I know the answer to it, but I have to come up with three others, three more options for the trivia for the multiple choice. So I try to think of like, well, who is someone else that may have come up with a term, or someone else who's real people. All those people are 100% real, but I'm like, and then I try to find questions like, where can I throw somebody else who's in the true crime genre in a question, and one of those is in the true crime genre on YouTube. Who coined the term serial homicide and then later changed it to serial killer to reflect they were looking for a person and not the crime? The correct answer to question number 12 is B, as in boy, Robert Ressler. He was an FBI agent at the time. Jack White is the lead singer of the White Stripes and a solo artist now. Now that the White Stripes have pretty much broken up and split after the divorce. Steve Washington is a CIA agent who was involved in the actual discovery of the Nixon break-in and the people at the Watergate. Scott Reich is a true crime reporter, a United States Marine, a pilot. He was a pilot in the Marine Corps. And other is anything you want it to be. But that's who all those people are. They're all 100% real. But Robert Ressler is the one who coined the term serial homicide and then changed it to serial killer to reflect that they were more looking for the individual and not the crime. All right. Question number 13. Which serial killer from the list has inspired more made for TV movies, horror books, movies, comic villains, and podcasts? Was it A, H.H. Holmes, B, Jack the Ripper, C, Ted Bundy, D, Jeffrey Dahmer, or E, other? Which serial killer from the list has inspired more made for TV movies, horror books, movies, comic villains, and podcasts? Ivory Lady, good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. I'm glad you could be here with us. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, Ivory Lady. Barking Pumpkin is still here. Kitty Q's going with B? Question mark? Morgan, Sal, go with C. Theresa, B. Pipitot, C. And Pease is going with Chud Daybell. Sal is going with B. Great question, says Mel. And Mel's answer is C. Which serial killer from the list has inspired more made for TV movies, horror books, movies, comic villains, and podcasts? Question number 13 of 20. All right. The answer to question number 13 is B as in boy, Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper has inspired more made for TV movies, horror books, movies, comic villains, and podcast episodes and actual real podcasts. That's all they talk about is Jack the Ripper and who may actually be Jack the Ripper. In case you're wondering, there is a total of 32 individuals who may have been Jack the Ripper. Now, a lot of them, even H.H. Holmes, Mr. Mudgett himself, that was once linked as a possible person who may have been Jack the Ripper. But we already know Mudgett, where Mudgett was at the time and what he was doing. So he was not H.H. Holmes was not Jack the Ripper. But B as in boy, Jack the Ripper. All right, question. See, that's 13. Nope, next one up is did you know? Here's something you won't find in the outline of what makes a serial killer. 80% of serial killers have worn white tube socks, not black or any other color, while they were killing their victims. Why is it that they would wear white tube socks? When you look at the history of serial killers and what they have worn, blue jeans is or slacks, and then on top of that is white tube socks. Why? Because most serial killers, once they are caught, they have been institutionalized or they've been in prison or jail at some other time in the past. White tube socks. Even if you take it, look at the more common, popular, individuals, Jeffrey Dahmer wore white tube socks. He was never arrested beforehand, though, but it was something that how he was taught to dress with a white T-shirt, white tube socks underneath his clothing. And then there's John Wayne Gacy. He had been caught and served time before, but he wore white tube socks. More men in general wear white tube socks. Now, always, I never saw my father ever wear white tube socks ever. I mean, I don't know of a single farmer who probably wears white tube socks. My dad always wore black socks or dark brown socks. But that's something you won't find in the outline of serial killers. And don't ask me about the underwear or what brands or anything, because I don't know. I just found it interesting that the tube socks thing was in there in a file underneath the outline of serial killers. And I started then looking into who else wore white tube socks or white t-shirts or how they dress. And then I found a reference to blue jeans. And then white tube socks, was also mentioned along with, what they were wearing as they, when they killed these people. Israel Keys, by the way, a lot of times when he was killing, he never wore socks. But when he did, you'd have to assume there was probably white tube socks, but I don't know. All right. Oh, sorry, guys. I had to step out because the oil change was being done on my truck and the mechanic needed some information from me. But I'm back, LOL. If anyone noticed that I wasn't participating, I noticed. But I just figured you're busy. Maybe you had stepped out to eat dinner or something along that line. But you're here. Thank you. All right. And next trivia question should now be on your screen. Question number 14. Which one of these monsters was known during his lifetime as the monster of the Andes? Was it A, Jack the Ripper, B, H. Holmes, C, Dr. Shipman, D, Pedro Lopez, or E, other? Which one of these monsters was known during his lifetime as the monster of the Andes? Question number 14 of 20. Pippadot asks, Will, did Israel Keith put socks in his kill kits? No. No, his kill kits consisted, according to Israel himself, in this short amount of time and what his conversations with law enforcement, is he talked about the kill kits that consisted of only the necessities that he needed to commit homicides: a weapon, rope, tape, information or a map of some sort of the area, and with planned out entrance and exits, for quick escapes, um, and basic things like that. But no, he didn't put socks in there. He didn't put a mask or any kind of disguise, a wig or anything like that in there. But it was basic necessities for killing people, and he put them in a 5-gallon bucket with a lid, and he buried them all over the United States. People may have stumbled upon them and not even known that they were Israel Keys' actual kill kits, but they're out there. It'd probably take a lifetime to be able to find them. You'd have to know where he traveled and how he moved from the East Coast to the West Coast and then to Alaska and then back into Washington State in the Puget Sound area. But they may have been found and people just thought, oh, there's some creepy looking, crap, and just threw in the trash. I have a question. Good evening. I have a question. Welcome to tonight's trivia. The situation. It's all right, but it's a viable question. You don't know. You don't know. With Samuel Little, he kept trophies from each and every one of the victims that he killed. And he only told law enforcement about where 3 of his little stashes of trophies were. Now, they only found 1 because the other 2, the geographic location where he hid them, had long since changed drastically from where what it was when he hid these little stashes. But with each and every one of his little stashes of trophies from his victims, he actually stored things that were of need to him at with them. So, but we don't know exactly what he stored at the other location. We only know what he stored with the one cache, I guess you could call it, and that was a like a flannel shirt, but it was like a lined. I guess you'd call it it's a flannel shirt on the outside, but it was a thicker one that it was insulated. I guess you could call it like an insulated flannel shirt. I'm not sure what you'd actually call it, but I mean, I'm just giving you a description of what it looked like because they have a picture of it. It was pretty much rotten, and falling apart by the time they found it, for all the years that it was hidden. Like how many did Israel Keys, not Israel Keys, but how many did Samuel Little actually kill? We know he killed well over 90. Did he actually make it over 100? Did he make it to 98? Depends on, if you believe the Texas Rangers that he befriended, towards the end of his life. Think of the geographic location of the Andes and the countries that are around it. Yeah, it's true, Mel. Which one of these monsters was known during his lifetime as the monster of the Andes? The correct answer to question number 14 is D as in dog, Pedro Lopez. Honestly, this is the easier questions. The Ripper, Shipman, Holmes, all didn't live, hurt people anywhere near the Andes. So by default, there you go. You use deductive reasoning. I have a question. Good for you. Got to go. See you all next week. You take care, Purple. Remember, Purple, you never know who's going to be standing next to you next, nor do you know who's going to be knocking at your door. So you remember that, Purple. All right. Question number 15. What subject did Gary Ridgway study at great lengths? Today, if you write to him, it's all he wants to talk about. Was it A, killing people, B, arthropods, C, horticulture, or D, diesel engines, or E, other? And no, Gary Ridgway did not attend a university to learn about the subject. He read about it, and it was a fascination of his most of his adult life. But he read and had a large, extensive knowledge of this, and still does to this day. But which one is it? Is it killing people, arthropods, horticulture, diesel engines, or is it another? Question number 15 of 20. Gianna Marie is going with D. Beanie Babies. The reason is going with C, horticulture. Question number 15 of 20. Which subject from this list did Gary Ridgway study at great lengths? Mel, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I think it's C. Sprinkled donut. Total guess. Going with C. Sal says, I don't know. C. Ivory Lady is going with C as well. Kirikou, C, question mark. I don't even. What is it? It is. You don't know what C is? Horticulture? Horticulture is the study of plants and flowers. That's horticulture. The study of, I guess, things that you grow or people grow. What subject did Gary Ridgway study at great lengths? Today, if you write to him, that's all he wants to talk about. Gary Ridgway will not talk about his actual crimes themselves. He refuses to. Morgan needlepoint. He hangs out with Albert Fish. Wanted to talk about needlepoint and needles. How to annoy people before going away with them. Okay, plants and flowers. I'm going with that, says Kitty Coo. Question number 15 of 20. The correct answer is C, as in cat. Horticulture. He wants to talk about flowers all the time. And even where he is incarcerated now, where he's on 23-hour lockdown every single day, that's all he wants to talk about with other inmates is horticulture, flowers, growing plants, horticulture. He did not go to school to study horticulture. It was just something that has always interested him and something he has studied at great length. Horticulture. All right. Question number 16. Which one of these monsters openly mocked the police in a series of letters to them and letters written to TV and radio stations and newspapers? Was it A, the Zodiac, B, the Hillside Stranglers, C, Whitechapel Murderer, D, the Alphabet Killer, or E, other? Which one of these monsters openly mocked the police in a series of letters to them and letters written to TV and radio stations and newspapers? Question number 16 of 20. Not Beanie Babies, Will? Are you sure? I'm sure. I'm sure Inner Peace. It wasn't Beanie Babies. Kitty Coo. I'm going with A. We have Pippadot, Mel, Gianna Marie, Barking Pumpkin, and Sour all going with A. Kojak Bang Bang. Kelly Savalas. Yeah, I just read an interesting article about Kojak just the other day in her piece. The reason why Telly Savalas always had the lollipop was because he didn't want to smoke on screen, and because he didn't want to be a bad example for children. That's why he came up with the lollipop. I had no idea about that. I just thought it was like one of them, a character like quirk, that they had it was written into the script. Nope. I was thinking BTK, but wasn't an option. LOL, says Kitty Q. And yes, the BTK, he definitely, wrote letters and mocked the law enforcement, and sent letters to TV and newspapers. Morgan is going with A as well. You go, Kojak. Kojak, bang, bang. All right, question number 16. The correct answer is A, as an apple. A. The Zodiac wrote letters mocking the police departments, and he also sent letters to anyone that would listen or publish them. And in a couple of them, he downright said, "Look, if you don't publish my letter, I'm going to kill more." But he mocked the police department in a series of letters, and then he sent letters to any media outlet that he could. All right. Did you know there are more unknown and uncaught serial killers worldwide than those known and caught? That is an actual scary fact. There are more serial killers out there that we don't know about and have not been caught yet than there are those that have been caught. Only about 1,100 serial killers have been caught. 1,100. Worldwide, they believe the number is closer to 4,000 serial killers worldwide have either are active or maybe they're dead now. They died of natural causes or something that happened to them. But between 4 to 5,000, somewhere in there, is what they believe serial killers worldwide, and only 1,100 have been caught. Will, this will make me sleep better. Oh, all right. Next question. Question 17. What monster turned his victims into chair covers, book bindings, knife handles, lampshades, and even a bodysuit? Was it A, Pedro Lopez, B, Jeffrey Dahmer, C, H.H. Holmes, or D, Ed Gein, or E, other? What monster turned his victims into chair covers, book bindings, knife handles, lamp shades, and even a bodysuit? Question number 17 of 20. Barking Pumpkin, Kitty Q, Lemon Pie, Pippa Dot, Mel, and Sal, and Gianna Marie are all going with D. Tonight's trivia is brought to you by Green Guillotine by Liquid Death. Murder Your Thirst. Green tea, agave, and vitamin C. Liquid Death. Green Guillotine. That's shocking, but at the same time, not shocking, right? Pee Wee Herman. Hey, Pee Wee Herman makes it into the comment section tonight. Down at Pee Wee's Playhouse. Oh, Paul will always be remembered as Pee Wee Herman. That's who the character in The Silence of the Lambs was based on. The Happy Homemaker. All right, question number 17. The correct answer is D as in dog. D. Ed Gein. These are just some of the things that he did. He turned his victims into, chair coverings, book bindings, knife handles, lampshades. He made ashtrays out of pelvic bones. And he had made a bodysuit. Now, it was also not only Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs, but Buffalo Bill was based in part on him, and so was Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They all took inspiration from what Ed Gein had done. All right, question number 18. I love candy. The sweeter, the better. Which one of these serial killers was often seen driving around in a white windowless van handing out candy to children? Was it A, Ted Bundy, B, Dean Corll, C, Ed Kemper, D, Gary Ridgway, or E, other? I love candy. The sweeter, the better. Which one of these serial killers was often seen driving around in a white windowless van handing out candy to children? Talk about creepy right off the bat. A windowless van? Isn't that what we're all supposed to be scared of when we're children? Why would you go anywhere near a windowless white van? Norman Bates was inspired by Ed Gein as well. Fun fact. Yes. Ed Gein has actually been the inspiration for a lot of characters. Um, uh, Jason Voorhees was also, they took inspiration for Voorhees from Ed Gein as well. The Candyman. Santa Claus. Mr. Goodbar. Lemon Pie says Santa. Santa Claus. He drove around in a white windowless van handing out candy to children. You thought the Silence of the Lambs guy was inspired by Buffalo Bill? They all the Leatherface, Buffalo Bill, um, Hannibal Lecter, all of them were inspired by Ed Gein. It's not like they took 100% of what Ed Gein had done, and used it exactly. They were just an inspiration, and amongst other serial killers as well. Other murderers were the inspirations for the characters, but you know, Buffalo Bill had the skin suit that he was making. So did Ed Gein. All right, question number 18. The correct answer is B as in boy, Dean Corll. The Candyman himself, Dean Corll, was often seen in the town where he lived, driving around in a white windowless van, handing out candy to children. One of their mainstays that they made a lot of at their shop, their business, when it was smaller, even when they expanded the business itself and moved into another building, was they made pralines. And that was one of the candies that they made, and they gave away if they were defective, like it didn't come out, and it didn't look right before they would box them up. They would give them away instead of just. And sometimes, if they couldn't give them away, they dug giant holes out behind the building and just dumped them into a pit. So they would much rather give them away. And if people didn't show up, Dean would get in his actual van and drive around and give them out to children or to anybody else that came up. But he was often seen with children coming to the van, and because people knew, oh, he drives around the van and gives out candy, but he gave away other candy besides the pralines that they made. They made a lot of candy canes too, and other sweets. Norman Bates was the closest. Ed Gein was a freak. Pralines. All right, question number 19. We're going to party like it's 1999. Was playing on a stereo when this serial killer found his next victim, Julie Blackbird. That's supposed to be Blackbird, not the way it's spelled there. But again, that's two spelling errors tonight. He just wanted to party. She just needed a ride. Who is he? Is it A, Ted Bundy, B, Samuel Little, C, Gary Ridgway, or D, Joel Rifkin, or E, other? Question number 19 of 20. We're going to party like it's 1999. Was playing on the stereo when this serial killer found his next victim, Julie Blackbird, who just wanted he just wanted to party and she just needed a ride. Who is he? Pralines. Yeah, I've never liked them. Then again, I've never been a fan of sweets, sugary things. And the closest I ever come to like eating anything like that is every once in a great while, either my daughter or somebody in my family will make snickerdoodles. That's my favorite cookie, snickerdoodles. Well, my daughter calls them basic bitch cookies. But every once in a great moon, she'll actually make them for me. But I don't eat cake or desserts or candy itself. Just never been a fan of it. Alex Trebek. Question number 19 of 20. Going to party like it's 1999. Who is this killer? Michael Keaton. I am Batman. there's a whole series this guy does. He dresses up like Batman. on YouTube, and he does like shorts and actual somewhat longer than 60 second, where the camera is just looking at him and like the family is behind him, like, Dad, we need to go. And he's like, I'm Batman. They're like, yeah, Dad, take off the mask. Let's go. We have to go. I'm Batman. It's really funny. I'm not doing it justice. All right, question number 19. The correct answer is D as in dog. Joel Rifkin was the killer of Julie Blackbird. And he was listening to Prince on the radio at the time when he found Julie and he killed her. This is all part of his confession. He actually, in his confession for murdering Julie Blackbird, he even tells everybody what he had. He went to an Arctic Circle, which is a drive-through restaurant chain. I don't know if they're still out there or not anymore, but he told about what he had for lunch and where he saw her. He was actually sitting at an Arctic Circle when she walked by, and he decided while sitting there eating his lunch that was going to be his next victim, Julie Blackbird. Question, did you know, is next. Did you know around the world and back, one of the rarest of all types of serial killers is a serial killer who travels great distances to get their next victims. Most hunt within a 25-mile area of their home base. Two such examples of traveling serial killers are Samuel Little and Israel Keys, are two examples of a traveling serial killer. Again, most serial killers hunt in within a 25-mile radius of their actual home base. Where they may live at the time is considered their home base. If they're transient, maybe they live here for 6 months, or they might move a town over for a year, that they hunt within a 25-mile radius of that actual hub. But again, the rarest of all serial killers is a traveling serial killer. All right, question number 20. According to the BOP, which is the Bureau of Prisons, what percentage of incarcerated serial killers have access to the internet? Is it A, 90%, B, 32%, C, 8%, or D, 19%, or E, other? This is as of the year 2022, the last time they did the actual complete study of access to communication and communication devices. What percentage of serial killers have access to the internet? Mr. Frosty, how are you doing, sir? I hope you've been doing well. The traveling Wilbury serial killers. That was a mega group, wasn't it? With Roy Orbison in it. That was Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan. Oh, gee, I'm gonna hate myself. I know the rest of. There are 5 members of the band. I have a question. Is going with A. Kitty A. I would think they have the same access as all other murdering asses. Inner peace. 4 out of 5 dentists surveyed. Mr. Frosty's going with 32%. The Morgan's going with B. Sprinkled Donut's going with B as well. As of 2022, the last time they did a study on the access of communication devices in prisons. And I would assume that this accounts for state and federal, because it was the FBI who did the actual well, they were the main part of it, but they also did this study with 2 other groups. One, I believe, is a nonprofit, but access to communication and communication devices is what the study was about. So, what percentage of serial killers have access to the internet? Wasn't Charles Manson part of the Traveling Wilburys? No. Oh my God, I'm one away from a perfect score, so I'm bound to be wrong on this one. According to the Bureau of Prisons, what percentage of incarcerated serial killers have access to the internet? The correct answer for question 20 is A, as in apple. 90% of all incarcerated serial killers, as of the study of 2022, found that serial killers have access to the internet through internet tablets that are now provided in all prisons. Tablets. 90% of them have access. The 10% that don't have access to them are those inmates who do not have access to the internet because they cannot afford the actual device or the plan to actually, they pay to actually use the internet to send emails and other such, things, download books, music, and stuff like that. A lot of them charge, you have to buy the device, or your family or somebody has to buy the device for you. Then you have to pay for actually accessing. I want to listen to music. They can't go to YouTube. They're not here in the comment section hanging out with Mr. Frosty and Ivory Lady and Kitty 2, but they're not here hanging out with us tonight. All right, that is our 20 questions. Now, this is completely optional. And don't forget, we have the cold case missing person spotlight coming up next. This is completely optional if you want to give yourself a letter grade based on, how well you did. Some people like to do this, some people don't. It's completely up to you. We're only here, again, for education and for entertainment purposes. We are in no way, judging each other on what we did. All right. So, with that said, of the 20 questions on tonight's survey, I knew 17 of the 20 questions on tonight's survey. I would have gotten myself a solid A tonight. It's completely up to you if you want to give yourself a letter grade or not. Some people like to, some people don't. Again, it's up to you. All right. With that said, moving on. Help solve a cold case of someone missing or deceased. You may think you don't know much, you didn't see much. That tiny little piece, though, maybe just a piece that helps close a case and brings closure to a family. Wouldn't you want someone to do the same, if it was you or your loved one? The only thing stopping you from calling in a tip, on one of these cases that I present each week is you. So do it today if you know anything or may know something about one of the, the person or the events around just the person who is missing. Again, I am working, and helping the Center for Missing and Exploited Children name us and the Charlie Project along with the FBI to get this information out there. I am not paid in any way at all for doing this. All I am doing is trying to help them get the names of these individuals out into a larger audience so people can, hey, look, I may have seen something on that day, or I may know something about that person, or maybe I saw that person the other day. These people there are vast reasons why. We've had a case where one individual that was actually on here that I presented the case of, she left on her own accord because her family, wouldn't have gotten along with the person that she decided that she wanted to have a relationship with. And years later, she actually, right around the time after that I actually presented her case, maybe it was connected, maybe it wasn't, but still, She then reached out to her family shortly thereafter and said, Mom, this is where I am. This is what I'm doing. And by the way, Mom, you're a grandmother. We have like 2 children now. And I'm planning on coming back home. But the reason why I left is because you wouldn't have liked the person that I was in this relationship with. But we're now married and we have a couple kids. See, people disappear for all different reasons. Some of them might have been at the hands of foul play. Some of them, they maybe having had a mental breakdown and don't know how to go back and put their life back together, so they just moved on with their lives. Others have been, taken, or been forced to, to leave, their location. We don't know. There's a vast reasons why people disappear. All right. With that said, here is tonight's case. Missing is Andrea Darlene Allen. What the hell is, I don't know what the hell that popped up on my screen there. Age 65. She disappeared when she was 23 years of age. It was last seen in West Palm Beach at a Winn-Dixie, that's a supermarket. She disappeared on 5/21 of 1985. She was approximately, at the time of disappearance, 110 to 115 pounds. She is 5 foot tall, blonde hair with green eyes. All right. Very little is known about the disappearance of Andrea. On the day she went missing, she left work early, saying that she wasn't feeling well, and she vanished. In her car and her purse and cash were found in the Winn-Dixie store parking lot. Now, the phone number on the the screen there is you can remain anonymous, even if you don't want to reach out to the West Palm Beach Police Department and leave a tip. You can do so with your state, local law enforcement agencies, or you can leave an anonymous tip with the FBI. Now, the day that she disappeared, a little bit more about that. She was at work and she said she wasn't feeling well and left early. And several people called in tips that day saying that they saw a lady sitting in a car slumped over the steering wheel, and the car was running. And they were worried that there was something that was going on with this lady. When law enforcement, finally did arrive there at the scene to follow up on the tip of this woman, slumped over the steering wheel, they found that the door was closed but not completely. Her purse was on the seat, as was, she had cash and the keys were in the ignition. She just vanished. Was she taken by someone? Was she there at the Winn-Dixie to get, some kind of medicine, over the counter medication, and just wandered away? Nobody knows. Again, if you know anything, you can call the number that's on the screen, 561-822-1900. That is for the West Palm Beach Police Department. Unfortunately, with a lot of these cases of people who have been missing for some time, there is no age enhanced photo of what she would look like today. No rendering of what she would look like today. She would be, again, 65 years of age today. And she did, that is how she would be today. She was 23 when she disappeared. And that is it for that, for disappearances and for the trivia night. Now, next week, trivia subject, in case you're wondering, is H.H. Holmes is next week, and the week after that is Rupert Murdoch. So H.H. Holmes is next Sunday, and the Sunday after that is Alex Murdaugh. I killed my family. Alex Murdaugh. Great chat and trivia. Thank you all for making it fun. Have a really good week ahead and stay safe. Take care, everyone, and you as well, Pippadot. Thank you for being here with us. Unfortunately, unless there's been a miracle, the poor woman is no longer with us. Well, they found people who have been missing an awful lot longer than that. There's you can actually Google a story about an individual, about a kid who was kidnapped from a park back east. I think it was Michigan or Pennsylvania, something like that. And they just found him this past week. He's a grandfather living in California now, and all those years, his entire family thought that he was long gone, and deceased. He's in his 70s now, and he disappeared when he was like 8. But all those years, and there have been people found long, who've been missing longer. Hope is a very powerful thing, and if for anybody out there that's ever had somebody disappear, vanish without a trace, you've got to keep the hope. Keep the hope alive. These people may be out there again. We don't know. Nobody knows. They just vanished. Sometimes there is, the suspicion of foul play, and other times people just walk away from their lives and move on to someplace else and never tell anybody. Over 1 million people in America disappear every single year. On average, 1 million people. Of those, better than 70% are found within a short period of time, thereafter. But people pick up and move and don't tell anybody all the time. Maybe they're forced. Maybe they got into a relationship with someone who's over controlling, overbearing. Now you're never going to talk to your family again. They're just evil, despicable people. Blah blah blah, brainwashing them never to contact home again, and they're gone. Maybe they got hooked up in it with a religious group, and they say, no, you can't talk to these people anymore. Now your life belongs to us, here at the church, and to our, benevolent, leader, Jim Jones or whatever, or Applegate or whatever it might be. We never know. Will, that was a great story. I really hope we hear more about that one. Well, good. I hope so too. Thank you, Interpeace, for putting the link to her channel up there. I appreciate that. Most of them come back within 24 to 48 hours. I don't know about that amount, but I would guess that it's somewhere in there. I would have to actually look it up. Of the million that disappear, 70% are found within a short period of time. Yes, I would guess that a lot of them are found within 48 hours. But if you think 70%, it still leaves 30% who are unaccounted for a longer period of time of that million. Where do they all go? They can't all be murder victims, can they? They have to have gone somewhere. But if you enjoyed tonight's trivia, if you'd give this a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. If you didn't like the trivia, give it a thumbs down. If you're watching this in rewind or after, the live event, leave me a comment. Tell me, if I'm always open to, constructive criticism of what I could do to improve it. And I know that tonight's trivia was different from other trivia nights. There was no pictures of the individuals that we were doing the questions about. That is because my license with Getty Images expired, and you only get to use it for so long. You have a window. Okay, you have so many days, to use this trivia, these pictures up, and then the license expires, and you can't use them after that. So get your Halloween decorations up, people. I've got a headstone right here. It's made out of foam. Doesn't matter if it's January 1st or, May 24th. That headstone has been in the background somewhere in my videos all these years. It's always either in a corner or it's in the background. You see just the top of it. If you go back and you look to the very first videos, it's always there somewhere. For the longest time, it was in the background behind this is a record player, by the way. It was behind this record player. You missed the taco podcast with you and Crystal? Yeah. We're working on that, right, Cart? That and the content that I put out on my other channel, the CDXI Now channel. We're working on it. So it just seems like every time we get close to, well, we've shot probably eight or nine different episodes of the Taco podcast that we've never edited or put out there. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to make shorts videos out of some of the longer, podcast episodes, and cut them down to, not just shorts like 60 seconds, but shorter videos, maybe 2 or 3 minute videos. But running this YouTube channel right now is taking up all of my time. I don't have the time to put into the other. And Crystal's work has been like a roller coaster ride. She never knows just how long she's going to be working. Some days she's supposed to be there for 10 hours a day because she works 4 days and then 3 days off. But some days, with a commute and work, some days it's 12 hours. Some days it's 14. So we're getting there though. We're getting closer and closer to getting everything into a schedule where we can actually, put more time towards it without taking time away from, for our son. No Halloween decorations this year. My cooperative is undergoing a complete facelift, and everything has to be removed, not added. Shucks. Oh, I'm sorry. Will, are you going to dress up for Halloween? No, I will not be dressing up for Halloween. Not this year, Broken Justice. At least I don't have any plans right now. But then again, and you have to understand. Last year was one of the first years ever that my son has gotten to the point where he wanted to participate in Halloween or anything. My son, in case those out there who don't know, my son is autistic, and he has a lot of barriers to things in life. He's speech delayed on top of that. So he doesn't know necessarily how to read social cues. He doesn't understand. He can't just go trick or treating and go up to a door and say trick or treat. He can't. He doesn't know what he's supposed to do and what he's not supposed to do. He knows right from wrong. He knows that stuff, but and last year was like the first year he really wanted to participate in it. Now, he also has sensitivity to loud sounds, bright lights, and people he doesn't know. And a face mask, putting a mask on a child that is autistic, or you wearing a mask. Now, think of COVID and everybody wearing masks. He can't read this. He can't read the cues from your face. So he'll just sit in one place and stare at the ground, or look at his feet, or your feet, or whatever. But if he can't read your face, he doesn't know, are you happy? Are you mad? Or are you a danger? Or are you, a friend? He doesn't understand these things. He can't, his brain doesn't, work exactly 100% like everyone else's. Now, I know adults who can't pick up social cues at all, and they're completely, things just go right over their head, who are not on the autism spectrum. But last year was the first year he actually wanted to participate in it, and he took took it okay for about the first half hour, and then it was just like, yeah, he was done. He was absolutely done. Um, so, and he doesn't like things that cover his face. So if he wears anything, it has to be like a face paint or something. And he doesn't like that, when he can't see, your eyes or my eyes or where, someone who he's interacting with. So it's hard. And the COVID and all that COVID closure and all that shit that happened, it set him and so many of his peers who are on the spectrum back so much. Where they should be today, it set them back really far. And they're picking it up. They're moving towards where they should be, but it didn't help them at all. Trick or treating is dangerous. It can be. A lot of the what we do with my son is we have like different social organizations that we belong to. And he's not necessarily going door to door. We do like a trunk or treat. It's like people will pull their cars into like the church parking lot, and the children will go from each display that's there. That people will put out behind their cars. And they can give out candy. It's a lot safer in environments. They're not out there walking around the streets or dodging in or out of traffic. You know, try to keep it as safe as possible. But I'm gonna wrap up tonight's trivia, there, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight for trivia. And for those who are new here, if you're still here in the comment section, thank you very much. I really hope that you'll check out some of my other content, and if you like it, you'll subscribe to the channel. Never rely upon YouTube to send out notifications of live streams. It's best just to write it on a sticky note and put it next to the device that you are actually watching me on, phone, tablet, computer, whatever it might be, TV in your living room. Put a post-it note next to it. I go live every Saturday and Sunday. Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and trivia night is every single Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So don't rely on YouTube and their notifications to be sent out to you when I'm going live. You do your trunk or treats at churches and schools mostly. Yeah, trunk or treating. It's a lot safer when we all know if the people were there and they're vetted for like the most part. But thank you everyone again for being here tonight for trivia. You all have a terrific week, and I will see you again soon. Bye.